Hey guys, Andy here. So I've had quite a few different OnePlus devices through the years. I think I'll always remember the very first one, the OnePlus One. I think it was like £279. And quite frankly, it was stunning what it could do for the money. I'm fairly sure I named it my phone of the year. I'm sure you'll find that somewhere on their website. Andrew Andy UK's phone of the year, 2015, 2016, I don't know, whatever it was. And it's been interesting to see OnePlus's progression, I guess you would call it, through the price ranges over the years, to the point that I think we were close to £1,000 on the OnePlus 8 Pro, £800 I think it was, which is a long way off the 279 or whatever it was that I'd paid many years ago. So it's not particularly surprising that a lot of headlines and a lot of heads were turned, a lot of eyes were opened when they announced the OnePlus Nord, which was going to be, well, it's £379. So it's not budget, but it's mid-range. It's going back to kind of value over high-end flagship, which is where kind of OnePlus came from, really. Officially, it's not out till August the 4th, but then some people that pre-ordered had them a couple of days ago. John Lewis had like a one-day sale, £30 off, order it yesterday, came today, so I did that. So let's take a look at it. So, the box itself, it's very black compared to, they're normally very bright and red, but it's very black, and you can see there the blue. So it comes in blue marble and grey onyx. I've got the blue marble. As we open up, there she is, This Way Nord. So Nord, in case you didn't know, basically means north. I perhaps missed, I don't always follow the hype that goes on with these things. And maybe I missed why it was called the OnePlus North, effectively. It feels a good way. It feels pretty solid. But let's take a look at the box first of all. OnePlus, they do a good job with their sort of unboxing experience. It feels a very deep box for kind of just the phone, the welcome pack, and the charger and cable. So the charger, I can tell you now, will be 30 watts fast charging, which I think I read it was it 50% in 70% in 30 minutes, which is very good, obviously. And let's have a look what we've got in here. So we have a welcome letter. Dear friend, some people not socially distant. Oh, okay, they're socially distant in there. I'll forgive them. Let's put them back in, and then it looks like we get in a case. So we're in a case, and well, that'll be the sort of, I'm not even going to bother opening it, the SIM eject tool and such. Quite like the case, quite nice. It's got a little bit of something to it. I quite like the case I got with my OnePlus 8 Pro, which had the Never Settle kind of engraved or etched or whatever into it. So let's pop them aside, and then This Way Nord. Look at that, oh, that does look very nice. Not sort of shimmery, just kind of, I don't know, it's not even quite pastel, but that's just a really nice, I think, a nice sort of nice blue. I like. Let's get it powering up while I go through some of the other specs. Oh, you can also see there's got a screen protector pre-applied, as most of them do. I'm not going to lie, it's going to be quite a sort of cheap and tacky, and it'll gather dust, but I've learned my lesson where normally I've just taken them straight off, but something in the satchely bit of my bike, oh not that one, the other one, has managed to scratch a few different screens now, so I tend to leave the screen protectors on now. So 8.2 millimeters thin or thick, 184 grams, which are both sort of fairly normal and reasonable. A glass front and a glass back, both of them Gorilla Glass 5, but with a plastic frame. But it does feel quite, I mean, you wouldn't guess that it's a budget phone. It feels pretty premium, to be fair. The actual hardware, so we've got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G chipset, which I think is what the new Pixel will have. Or is it the 4A? Or is it the 5? Drop it in the comments for us. But it's kind of one of the new favourite processors. From what I'm hearing, the G version means it's a gaming version. It's got an Adreno 620, I don't know if that's exactly what it signifies, but it is a 7nm chipset, which is only like, it feels like only a year back that we go, oh, 7nm, and if it wasn't 7nm, you didn't want to know. But that was for top-end phones, so for mid-range 7nm, that's good. Octa-core CPU with Cryo 475 Prime, Gold and Silver. This one has 8GB of RAM with 128GB of storage, but for about £100 more you can get 12GB of RAM with 256GB of storage, which for me on both cards just seems a bit overkill. I just don't need that much space. The first thing that I kind of go, is UFS 2.1 file system. And I guess maybe it's a bit unfair. It's only a year or so back that UFS 3 or 3.1 came out, and it was seen as, I just want to be careful, one of my lights is leaning on, so I don't want to set fire. I've lost my train of thought. 3.1, yeah, maybe I'm being a bit unfair, kind of going, 2.1. The screen itself is a fluid AMOLED 6.44 inch screen, 86.7 screen to body ratio. You can see there the kind of the cutout dual front facing cameras, we'll come to them in a second. But it's 2400 by 1080, which is a 20:9 ratio, and about 408 pixels per inch. First impressions, that looks a very nice screen. It's got a 90Hz refresh rate, HDR10 plus, and I've mentioned it's kept safe behind Gorilla Glass 5. So all of that actually, I don't know, you would expect to pay more for 90Hz, lovely looking AMOLED screen with cutout cameras behind Gorilla Glass 5. Really good. To finish off the, well, not to quite finish off the specs, but to cover the cameras. So 48 megapixel f1.8 just regular wide angle with optical image stabilization and phase detection autofocus. Then there's an 8 megapixel f2.3 ultra wide. There's a 5 megapixel depth sensor and a 2 megapixel macro. Now, only one phone really have I seen a macro lens that was any good, so it'll be interesting to see how this one fares. If we switch around to the front-facing cameras, we've got a 32 megapixel regular wide and we've got an 8 megapixel ultra wide, both of them f2.5. Now, front and back you can record 4K. I'm fairly sure I saw front can do it at 60 frames per second and back can only do it at 30, but I'm not sure. I'll have to kind of look into that one. It does come with Android 10 with OxygenOS 10, which a lot of people love. A lot of people say it's the best version of Android, even better than stock. I'm not going to argue, it's nice. And the battery, finally, is a LiPo 4115 milliamp hour battery. I've mentioned already the fast charging. So at this point, let's get a quick indication of that. I mean, it feels very smooth. Whoopsie. So generally what I'm going to do now is get it logged in, get a couple of bits installed, and we'll have a very quick play, looking at a bit of a, maybe I'll run back, well I'll come back as the benchmark is finishing, we'll look at a bit of YouTube video and see how it sounds and looks, and we'll go from there. So you're back with me just as the Geekbench 5 is finishing up. I've not updated many of the apps, but it has run a system update, which I think it said was a security patch for this for July. Which is not bad. I mean, literally it's August the 1st today, so it wouldn't have August obviously. So I mean, it's updated as it can be. There we go. So 1945. I think that's okay. I suppose you bear with me 1 second. I will get up. So that puts it ahead of the Mi Note 10. I mean, it's a long way behind the Poco F Pro, which was 3,300. That was actually the top scoring device I've had, but 1945, I mean, that's a respectable score. My Pixel 4 scores 2,447 as an average. So, I mean, that gives you a rough idea. That's not bad power. I've activated gestures. I've set up the fingerprint sensor. I'll give you a quick... Seems fairly fast. I like the sort of moving wallpaper as well. And it does generally, from my very limited use thus far, it seems very slick. So let's go to YouTube. So I think the screen looks really nice, but I'll bring the brightness back down again. The screen looks very nice, nice and bright, nice and vivid, good colours, good clarity. Speaker, single firing out the bottom of the phone. We'll see. Obviously for the actual review I've got a sound meter, I do proper tests. I will be using this device for a week. I mean, it's Saturday night right now. I don't think I'll get a chance to record a review till next weekend anyway. And I will use this as my main device. My main SIM card will go into this phone and I will use it for a week. So you will get my proper opinion of it. Let's try the camera. So one of the improvements it says it made in the update was to do with the camera. Because it's late night, it's dark outside, I can't really go out taking photos. Quick share. That screen does actually look really very nice. Look at the colours. Fantastic. I mean, early impressions, that's a nice looking photo. It really is. Very good, I would say. So this morning, while editing, I thought, well, let me dash outside. It's quite a nice, bright, sunny day. I got a few sample photos. And honestly, at this point, the camera would probably be my concern. I mean, that's not a bad picture. The ultra wide, yeah, I mean, it's okay. I don't know. I mean, better testing and comparisons are needed, but possibly the camera could be the weaker point. The selfie cam, quite nice. Portrait mode, because it's got the two lenses, that looked to be pretty sharp and crisp. Actually, the front facing, really very good. And then a little bit of video, actually, that's really nice and smooth. That does look quite good. So as I say, a lot more testing is going to be needed. Do make sure that you check that out in the other videos that I'll make. Again, obviously, so this is just an unboxing, first impressions. On the camera, a lot of people say to install Gcam, so I'll look at that. I've downloaded an APK for it. They tell me you get better pictures out of Gcam, but for me, early impressions, this looks like a hell of a device for, well, in this case, like £350, but £380 normally. So I will use it for a week. I will do a full review where it's going to be much more detailed than what I've just kind of blazed through just here. I'm probably going to do some camera tests. I might put it up against the Poco F2 Pro, see how the camera fares against that. I'll do some other head-to-heads perhaps with that. I've got the iPhone SE still I can use. I've still got the Pixel 8, OnePlus 8 Pro that I can throw it up against. Obviously I use my Pixel 4. I don't know, let me know in the comments what you want to see. I'm not going to do all of this, I don't have the time, I'm really sorry. Do consider contributing on Patreon. If I was to make enough money so I could quit my job and just do videos, I'd make all the videos you want, but I haven't. I've got to have a full-time job. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you would want to see though, and let's give it another chance to show the. Seems pretty quick, but yeah, it seems a very nice device. It's going to be interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do to get the more OnePlus Nord content that I'll be throwing out over the next week. But for now, my name's Andy, and I'll catch you all again soon.